And first, the news from where the fate of the world is truly being decided right now. The much-hyped Russian summer offensive has failed. This is now the conclusion not only of the American Institute for the Study of War, but also of our own general staff. Despite the massive number of forces Putin threw into this offensive, the Muscovites failed to capture a single city in Donetsk or Kharkiv regions. Moscow's plans to create a so-called security belt in the Chernihiv, Sumy and Kharkiv regions have also been thwarted. Less than 70 kilometers of territory along the border have come under Russian control. However, according to American experts, Russian generals are blatantly lying about their successes on the front lines in order to convince the West of their inevitable victory over Ukraine. However, as our Andriy Tsaplienko says, there is now cautious optimism even regarding the return of several settlements captured by the Russians in the summer. How was it possible to stop the enemy in the Dobropilya area and near Siversk? How were they able to cut off the pincers near Pokrovsk? Andriy will now tell us everything.
All right, we're ready for takeoff. Then let's get to work.
Andriy Tsaplienko, their job is to stop the horde. The Russian summer offensive stalled, in part thanks to these guys. A reconnaissance drone is a small element of a complex system for monitoring the battlefield and creating an impassable zone for Russian infantry.
And not once has it ever happened that during our entire flight, we didn't find at least one interesting specimen.
Andriy Tsaplienko, what you're seeing now looks on the map like a long snake-like tongue stretching 18 kilometers toward Dobropilya. Or rather, the remnants of that tongue, because Ukrainian forces have almost completely cut it off at the root. The plan to bypass Dobropilya and encircle Pokrovsk has failed. But that doesn't mean the Kremlin has abandoned it.
We've had some success there. At the moment, the situation there looks like a tug of war. The initiative keeps shifting from one side to the other. The enemy has a significant advantage there, both in manpower and equipment. But they are also suffering heavy losses there.
Andriy Tsaplienko, this was a well-fortified area of Ukrainian defensive positions. But there was a critical shortage of personnel to hold our defensive line in this sector. So it quickly stopped being ours. The occupiers took it over.
Since they don't know the area, they just act on herd instinct. They only react to the sound of FPV drones, they run for cover in the trees and try to hide.
Andriy Tsaplienko, now it's difficult to retake the fortifications, but the guys are trying to turn the lost stronghold into a trap for the enemy. In the Dobropilya area, where Ukrainian soldiers literally made superhuman efforts to eliminate the Russian breakthrough, this drone has just spotted another massive concentration of enemy infantry. Now it's heading back there again, because whether the Ukrainian defenders can hold their positions depends on its work. The aerial reconnaissance unit Phoenix has found the target. Now the operator of the strike drone will take care of reducing the enemy's manpower.
Got it, I understood.
Andriy Tsaplienko, the system is designed to minimize the time between detecting and striking the enemy.
We fly beyond the line of contact into the enemy's rear, locating them. At that moment, our FPV operator is already approaching the target. That's why it's so effective.
This kind of warfare has rendered armored vehicles ineffective. The enemy is massively switching to motorcycles, trying to dash through the kill zone, or hopelessly crawling across it on foot, playing a deadly lottery with Ukrainian drones. Only this way do the expendable Russian soldiers have a chance to advance.
1, 2, 3 motorcycles ride down the road and immediately turn into the tree line.
In our case, I don't know about others, they never made it, because our FPV operators take them out in advance. Is it effective? It doesn't matter to us. We just don't want them crawling in here, that's all.
In the north of Donetsk region, the Russian summer offensive ran into the city of Siversk. The occupiers dared to launch a massive assault, but the soldiers of the 54th Brigade were waiting for them. 30 units of military equipment and 41 motorcyclists. Almost the entire armada was left burning in the field.
The enemy's objective was basically to get into Siversk. It was a duel between our armored group and the enemy's vanguard, with that tank which took about 17 FPV hits and kept moving because it was so heavily armored that it was only destroyed when our tank tore off its armor plating with a shot, and then the FPVs were able to reach it.
The occupiers, realizing they can't take the city head-on, are repeating with Siversk what they're doing near Pokrovsk, trying to outflank it.
The situation looks a bit critical, but in reality, it's not that critical because the brigade has been holding its position for a very long time. The city of Siversk is well prepared from an engineering standpoint. They can't take us head-on. We're trying to create a kill zone of 10 to 20 kilometers.
The Russians are also creating a zone where everything spotted by Russian drones is destroyed. Despite the mortal danger, the soldier watches as the killer drone searches for its target. Unfortunately, it finds one. The Ukrainian forces lose a vehicle. But against drones, the defenders of Siversk have an invisible yet highly effective weapon. The soldiers in the trenches can't see it and rarely think about the fact that it is what gives them a chance to survive. This is a Russian kamikaze drone of the Molnya type. It has already been intercepted.
What exactly was this particular drone loaded with?
With fragmentation high explosive, 2 fragmentation high explosive charges.
And this kamikaze drone is already carrying several kilograms of death in real time, heading towards Siversk. But an interceptor drone comes in from above and interrupts its flight. And it was the electronic warfare unit that managed to calculate its trajectory by hacking into the Molnya's video feed. The Ukrainian operator is now essentially looking at the battlefield through the enemy's eyes.
Video from Russian drone.
Yes, we are indeed receiving this crucial intelligence directly from their reconnaissance drone. The interception of this vital information is currently happening in real time as we speak.
Just 2 years ago, such a war could only be imagined in science fiction blockbusters. Today, it's just part of the daily routine. The separate electronic warfare company Spectre almost never shows their work. But they showed us. The EW operator connected to the enemy's FPV.
This means it will no longer be able to catch its own signal.
Now the drone will be helped to crash into the ground. Just like that, there's one less aerial killer. But in this area, their numbers are measured in dozens.
It's truly best to head to the observation and jamming position the way we are doing it right now is the most optimal approach. Under a net and with the EW system turned on. And our driver also says that sometimes it doesn't hurt to cross yourself because the drone activity here is extremely high. Just imagine. In a single day, the position we're heading to can jam or neutralize up to 100 enemy FPV drones. That means 100 lives of our infantrymen quietly saved.
There's a scanner in the pickup. On the screen is an intercepted image from an enemy drone. It's searching for a target nearby. There's nothing to worry about until you see your own vehicle on the screen. This position is a priority target for the Russian occupiers. That's why we're not showing the actual EW systems that are covering Siversk.
Because all of this is expendable material. Just as we damage their systems and antennas, they damage ours as well.
That system of yours, the one that costs millions, are you saying that's expendable material?
Yes, it doesn't last long. It gets detected, and it gets detected quickly, just like we detect theirs.
These specialists can even neutralize a Lancet and, if necessary, help shoot down a Shahed. In just a few minutes, the operator brought down 2 drones that were heading in our direction.
One is a kamikaze wing, and the other is an FPV, and both are flying together.
Towards us?
Towards us, yes.
We were just about to head out.
One down.
Did you jam the wing?
Yes, indeed.
A typical day here means 100 neutralized drones.
100 drones a day, so that's 3,000 a month maybe? Yes. A lot.
The Russians are improving their killing technologies and are gradually shifting from Chinese to their own high-tech components, warns Finn, the commander of the electronic warfare unit.
Here, the essential spare parts are already entirely Russian-made. The control antenna and the video signal antenna.
These drones were successfully jammed, but there are still some that managed to break through the electronic defense wall of the 54th Brigade. The solution is to have more electronic warfare systems in reserve and more interceptor drones in the air. This will definitely help hold Sieverodonetsk, save the lives of the infantry, and thwart Putin's audacious plans as he does not stop his offensive. Andriy Tsaplienko, Ilya Shinkarenko, Serhiy Perfilov, TSN Week, 1+1, Marathon, United News.
And once again, we have a military breakthrough. Another special operation by the main intelligence directorate has turned military science on its head, because this modern Russian corvette, the Bayan M, was hit by a small Ukrainian FPV drone. For the first time in history, it has been proven that it is possible to operate such an aerial vehicle in open sea and at a distance of over 350 kilometers. Of course, our side isn't saying what type of FPV drone it was, so in the studio we decided to speculate a little. But what is certain is that the target was a Kaliber missile carrier, which was ready to launch. This is a brilliantly planned operation by the HUR Priamara unit. We specifically modeled this moment so you could see how a small drone can turn a modern missile carrier into nothing more than a hunk of metal because it struck the most valuable part of the corvette, the radar system. The most interesting part, the Russians insisted that the Bayan ships were invulnerable from the air. With its defense system, neither a plane nor a missile can get through. But it turned out that the Buyan's air defense system is blind to such small targets. All the crew could do was maneuver, but that's like an elephant trying to escape from a fly. The radar is also one of the most expensive parts of the ship. The enemy's losses amount to millions of dollars. So for now, the Russians have one less missile carrier. This is another of our victories at sea. In total, Ukraine has destroyed 28 ships and boats and 1 submarine. And what survived, the Russians have driven far away from Ukraine's shores.